Welcome back to the VTuber Pokémon League. It's Ai versus Digiko today. That means Sun versus Rain. Ai brings Torkoal's Sun with Walking Wake and Venusaur, plus her signature Frostmoth at this point, I think, and she has a Lowland Mark. Digiko brings the classic Rain Core with Pelipper and Kingdra. This time she has a very defensive Pokemon with Gastrodon and Iron Hand, which is a very bulky breaker. Let's break down the team preview. On Ai's side, Torkoal sets Sun and maybe Hazards. Walking Wake applies heavy pressure with Sun boosted Hydro Steam and Photosynthesis boost. Venusaur is a potential late game cleaner if Sun is set up because of the ability Chlorophyll, which doubles its speed in the Sun. Palossand should be able to keep Iron Hands in check, and Alonomark should be her special defensive mon here. The big win condition outside of Sun I see on Ice team is Frostmoth, because Frostmoth has Quiver Dance, is neutral into water type attacks, resists ice, and has Hurricane. So Frostmoth is very threatening into Digiko's team. On Digiko's side, we have Pelipper setting up the rain, Kingdra obviously abusing it with the ability Swift Swim, which is the same ability as Chlorophyll, just in rain. Gastrodon is the main switch in for Walking Wake, I think, so it's especially defensive with Storm Drain to absorb the Hydro Steam and maybe recover when hit by a Draco Meteor. Raikou is the fastest mon in the matchup, so Raikou brings speed control, and aside from Palossand, can ship Ai's entire team with just pivoting around. It probably knows Shadow Ball for Palossand. Iron Hands deals heavy damage while being super bulky, and Toadscruel mainly gets rid of hazards, I think. As always, the Weather War decides the whole speed of the match. If Sun holds, Venusaur becomes dangerous. If Rain holds, Kingdra becomes dangerous. Walking Wake threatens Digiko in both weathers, but doesn't want to stay in on Gastrodon because it can't do much against it. And if Ai combines her Terrestrialization typing with Quiver Dance on Frostmoth, I think she would be able to win this. We have two weathers, one battlefield. Let's see who wins this war. Ai leads very aggressively with Walking Wake, and Digiko leads with her Gastrodon. So right off the bat we have the best possible matchup for Digiko, at least defensively. There's probably not much Walking Wake can do, even if choice spexed. We see Dracoma doing 65, that has to be specs damage, but Digiko could recover here to get back enough HP so that the second Draco Meteor with the reduced special attack doesn't kill. She goes for Ice Beam though, doing 20%, which is not much. Heals herself with the leftovers, and Ai wants to get out immediately, switches into Venusaur. And we see Digiko switching as well. Digiko goes into Iron Hands, which is a very safe switch in almost every time for her. Ai doesn't want to stay in, switches into Torkoal and catches the Earthquake. Earthquake was a very default play since it hits everyone on Ai's team. She doesn't have a flying type or a levitate mon. Switching the Torkoal into Earthquake hurts her immensely though, since Iron Hands is probably faster, and just clicks another Earthquake here because that's very safe, and that would be Ai's Weather Setter gone in the 4th turn. We see close combat from Digiko and the Earth Power from Torkoal. So close combat reduces the user's defense and special defense by 1 stage. And since Iron Hands is at -1 special defense now, the Earth Power did so much damage. Earthquake would have probably killed Torkoal here, and getting so much damage onto Iron Hands this early on is not good for Digiko. She's probably able to kill the Torkoal now, but I don't think I will stay in because she saw the Earthquake. We see Pelipper setting up the Rain Earth Power doesn't connect because Pelipper is a flying type, but Digiko is in a worse situation than before because she needs her Iron Hands for those default switch-ins, and it's at 28% now. Even a Weather Bolt doesn't threaten Ai here. Digiko goes for Ice Beam, which is a very good move since it kills Tokol and is good damage on everything else. Walking Wake comes out, and here we see the big problem. Oh my god. Since Digiko didn't recover in the first turn, she's not able to switch into a Gastrodon because, as we saw before, Draco Meteor did 65% damage and Gastrodon is at 41. So she has to either sacrifice a Mon or hope for Draco Meteor to miss. She chose to switch into Raikou, and Ai misses the Draco Meteor, so that's a free pivot for Digiko because I don't think it's beneficial for Ai to switch into her Palossand now. She switches into Frostmoth. Digiko stays in, goes for Thunderbolt. There was a very strong switch in. That's a free Quiver Dance for Ai because Digiko has to get out here. Volt Switch obviously doesn't connect because Frostmoth terrestrialized and is a ground type now. That was very good from Ai. That's the first free Quiver Dance she gets. She gets a second one since Raikou has to switch out now. Digiko stays in, goes for Orosphere, and I think that's game. 2 Quiver Dances, we see 3 Quiver Dances because there's not much Raikou can do here. Raikou gets the burn, however 50% is still enough to kill Digiko's entire team. Frostmoth kills Raikou, and at this point, that's a very unfortunate switch. Okay, so Giga Drain kills Gastrodon and gets Frostmoth back up to over 70%. Kingdra doesn't terrestrialize here, goes for Surf. Very unfortunate. Ice Beam kills Kingdra, and this is over. There's nothing Digiko can do here. Iron Hands comes out, and since Iron Hands is at 28%, no way in the world is it going to live anything. Especially with ground type Terra Blast. We see Giga Drain healing Frostmoth back up. That's very good gameplay of Ai. She keeps her Frostmoth healthy. Frostmoth is faster than Toadscrew at this point. Ice Beam is enough to kill. And there's only Pelipper left. Pelipper can maybe go for Hydro Pump here. Ice Beam is enough to kill Pelipper. And with that, Ai wins this match. What a sweep from Frostmoth! The battle started out in Digiko's favor. She positioned herself well early on, and despite taking much damage on Iron Hands early on, she was controlling the weather and trading very effectively into Ai's team. But as the match went on, a few small decisions started it up. The kind of decisions that come from not having enough experience in this very high pressure situation. When Frostmoth began setting up, Digiko still had the tools to respond, but the moment was very difficult. Facing a Quiver Dance user can easily cause panic, and instead of forcing Frostmoth to play carefully, she gave Ai room to boost Frostmoth even further. These situations are still manageable, but you need to be prepared for them. And sometimes that means being willing to sacrifice a Pokemon just to get a safe switch in and regain control of the match. We saw the turning point here. Once Frostmoth got out of hand, the matchup completely flipped and the rest of the game played itself out. Still, it's a valuable learning experience for Digiko and a well-earned victory for Ai. I'm very excited to see how the expectations shift and whether Digiko can use the experience she gained from that match to bounce back even stronger in her next matches. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.